And we'll look it over.
Welcome to Skeptics Symposium, your weekly dose of science, technology, and logic. I'm Roman Shoden.
I'm Keegan Goodlin.
And I'm Matthew Drew.
Today we're dealing with a bit of technical issues, so
we're
cozy. We're going to have one camera. We're going to have three people just hanging out, being bros.
In fact, I have no idea how good the sound quality is right now.
Yeah, so I guess on this day in 1888, Thomas Edison actually filed a patent for the first phonograph. It was the first movie that you could see, like a first commercial moving picture. And actually, interestingly enough, on this exact same day as well, the first phonographs that he made in 1888 came out for sale. So it was basically like the little peephole things.
Yeah.
You know, you look into them, and it's like a penny show.
Oh.
Yes.
Was this the train one that people thought it was like an actual train?
No, that was actually that was a little later on. That was
I did 4, I only need 3. Okay, so
Is it not going?
is it going right now? You guys
we're
already started?
on right now.
Oh, I thought I didn't know you guys already started.
Yeah, no, we're
Hi,
just
everyone.
so natural.
Alright, there he is.
Thanks, man. All right. So I swore we were having a show.
Yeah, as you were saying.
Oh yeah, so the peephole thing was called a kinetoscope. That was the first true phonograph. It was the first projector.
Mm-hmm.
That was actually
come on the screen.
I'm coming on the screen. All right, so that was the first. that was the first time they actually had a projector, and that's when they figured out they could reel film. In this design, the one he patented in 1888, they actually had sort of a series of movies.
This thing.
It looks kind of like an accordion-ish.
Yeah, exactly. Because they couldn't have the film touching. It's not that they didn't think of it; it's that they couldn't. The film was so fragile at that time that they couldn't have the film touching itself. Otherwise, it would break. So they actually only had enough reel in there for 40 seconds, and you could get one of the whole devices for like $22.
How big is it? It's pretty large, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's about. I'd say it's about the size of a photocopier. You know, like
a photocopier.
40 seconds.
Yeah, no, it's about the size of a photocopier. Maybe a little smaller.
Do you know what the frame rate was?
Frame rate? Oh, you know what? It would be natural, so it would have been 29.9 something. It's 29.9 frames per second, which is
we'll call
fair.
it 30.
Yeah, no, it was actually really good. You know, it had a high resolution.
Mm-hmm.
It was good, but that was just because it was analog. It wasn't because it was any sort of feat of engineering,
Yeah.
although it was at the time, I suppose. But yeah, so 40 seconds. It cost a penny to run, so just coin operated penny in there.
Did people own these privately, or were they like?
At first, they rolled out. I think it was 700 of them all over Europe. It was like a big launch. Everybody was really excited. It was all the same movie. It was actually a boxing match. Yeah. So they had like a series of three or four, and then they had you put the penny in, and then you'd watch one, and you'd move to the next, and then you could have actually finish the fight. It was a total of, I guess, 160 seconds.
So wait, how did this work? What's the logistics on it? So it's like, is it a small booth that you'd go into in like a mall or something, or is it like?
No, it was a big machine, and you had 2 little eye holes. And you stuck them on like a binoculars, and it was a one-person deal. It was not a family affair. So that was big though. That was a good start. I know you don't like Thomas Edison, but that's something he also claims to make. But we'll not talk about that.
There's a big controversy for anyone out there wondering about whether Edison was actually responsible for most of his inventions. Apparently, he also stole a lot of stuff from Tesla. And if you watch The Prestige.
Alright, I don't think that's a real source.
No, it's not.
He feels uncomfortable with this.
That rivalry is crystallized.
Yep, alright. Well, we can't go into that right now. We will have a show about that.
Yeah, maybe we should.
We should. Anyway, So, Roman, you got a logical fallacy we can talk about?
Yeah, so every week I'm going to be doing some kind of logical piece, and today's is the burden of proof. So the burden of proof is a lot like in scientific research, where you have to you make a claim and then you have to support it with facts and you research, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. So in an argument, it's you always need to support what you're saying, or else you can't know that it's true. And the burden of proof actually has 3 different kinds of definitions: the legal definition, the philosophical definition, and the scientific definition. They're all very, very similar, slightly different.
Which one's right?
Depends. If you're
Depends where you are.
Yeah, it depends where you are.
I see.
But they all have the same basic point. Whoever makes the positive claim to say that this happened.
And sorry, what's a positive claim? Could you...
So a positive claim is claiming claiming something. I don't know how to describe it. It's anything when you're
What was that?
yeah
Lollipops
when you
are
claim
red.
something.
All
Yeah,
lollipops
whenever
are
you
red.
say something is true is a positive claim.
All right. So yeah, it's like
or
say
when you say something is false, right?
yeah, exactly. So if I say a positive claim would be something like I say all lollipops are red, and then I have the burden of proof to show people that every single lollipop, make sure that they're all red, or at least a large enough number that we're confident that all lollipops are red.
Yeah, that's true.
But if somebody was like no lollipops are red, they would also have the burden of proof.
That's also a positive
It's
claim.
also a positive claim, even though it's claiming something to be not
Negative,
true.
yeah.
Yeah, a negative or so any of it makes a positive claim would be claiming something to be true.
Absolutely
It's true that it's not.
Refuting that, saying I don't think that's true, or I don't necessarily accept that claim yet, would be not a positive claim. You'd be doing that would be something that should be your natural position. You have to wait for somebody to prove it to you.
Right.
You don't just accept everything outright.
And there's practical reasons for that.
Which
Well, even like
Sorry,
so,
I gotta
let's go with the
hijack
legal
you.
definition where I don't have it here, but in a court case, you can't just accuse people of murder willy-nilly. You can't just say you murdered him and then, well, that's the case right there. Let's lock him up. You have to provide evidence, and in case of murder, lots of evidence to make sure that the person you're accusing has in fact committed this crime.
Beyond reasonable doubt.
That's it.
yeah, that reasonable doubt is your position. That's what you should always have on every claim, not just in a court setting.
Yeah, reasonable doubt. That's what our show should be called. We should change the name to Reasonable Doubt.
What about Mac, Roman, and cheese?
Keeks.
Oh, Keeks, right? Yeah, you're here too. All right.
Actually, so it's. I just have a note here. It's the reason why we make positive claims is to avoid unwarranted assumptions, which is a claim that has no justification. And I have a Hitchens quote, which is actually on one of your favorite quotes on Facebook.
Oh, I have favorite
Yes.
quotes on Facebook.
Yes, you do.
I haven't been on there in a while.
From Hitchens, it's what can be asserted without evidence can also be dismissed without evidence. So
yes.
if you make a claim and you don't support it, then we can just say okay.
A little bit of a caveat there. It was initially not evidence. He corrected that after you upgraded it because he said proof initially. So it can be asserted without proof, can be dismissed without proof. But that's another little bit of a nuance
We
that
should
we can't go into.
talk about that sometime.
Yeah, but anyway,
that was actually stolen originally from Sagan, right?
Was
Sagan said something
I thought it was Bertrand Russell.
nearly identical.
Okay, well, regardless. It's a good quote.
Yeah.
Regardless of who said it first.
And I've heard it referred to as Hitchens' razor. Like
Yeah,
Occam's razor.
yeah. When he died, they
Yeah.
kind of devoted
Yeah.
credited him with that.
I'm glad.
Yeah, no, it was nice.
He deserves a razor.
Yeah, he did.
At least
he deserve a razor.
He should get Occam's too. He's content to find.
Awesome.
This Do you have anything else for burden proof?
I had something that I missed that I should have said at the beginning, which was something that is actually taken from my critical thinking textbook. It's on the inside of the cover before even the production credits and stuff is mentioned. I have it. Oh yeah. So it's kind of longish, but good thinking is clear rather than muddled, precise rather than vague, accurate rather than inaccurate, consistent rather than inconsistent, logical rather than illogical, complete rather than incomplete, fair rather than unfair.
All right, you want to break that down for us? Or just a couple sentences, explain that to us?
I guess so. So clear thinking is easy to follow and not convoluted, so people can make sure. So it's obvious what you mean when you say it.
Yeah.
Muddled
I think that's
is-
just guarding against people who are being deliberately misleading without outright lying.
Yeah, a better way to conduct yourself so you don't get scammed.
And I guess what goes along with that is precise rather than vague. So vague is, saying something that would that could possibly stretch to what you want, but not necessarily true. And precise would be, this is true because of this.
And very specific.
Yeah, and very specifically.
So somewhere you could use this, and your normal life, I suppose, would be like, somebody comes up to you with a claim, oh, this skincare product is the best skincare product there is. You've been to the mall, you know they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they claim it's like infused with the minerals from the deepest oceans or wherever's nicest this year. And yeah, you can think about that. Make sure they are making a claim. You should first be skeptical. Think about it. Know that they have the burden of proof, and them just saying it outright isn't enough proof to buy their $60, $70 products.
Yeah.
And usually Holly Berry isn't enough proof either. So.
I don't get it.
I don't know.
She's like cover girl, whatever.
All right, great. Awesome joke, Roman.
Fine. I thought it was funny when I thought of it. Right.
Moving on.
Accurate rather than. Are you just gonna?
No, okay.
No, it's all right. It's okay.
So-
I think we got it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I think with the burden of proof is that I know we hit this because we have a lot of discussions with theists and deists.
You want to go on about that?
Oh, okay.
Deists?
We're all atheists here, if you hadn't guessed already. And theists are people who have a defined religion, who believe in a personal God, usually.
Yeah, they're making a positive claim, right?
Yeah.
They're making a claim that there is a thoughtful,
Mm-hmm.
personal God, communicating with them, and or they may not necessarily communicating with them, but being at least personable with them,
Right.
caring about what they do.
And has a personality.
Yeah.
Whereas deism is a general sense that there's a power that maybe created the universe. and
Creating
stuff like
power, they may not care what you are. And an atheist is not necessarily the negative of that. It's not another positive claim. It's something where you say, I have yet to see the evidence. What we talked about before.
Yeah.
The default position.
And I've been in countless
Countless?
debates,
You can't count it.
notably one with my uncle, who's a Canadian MP, shall remain nameless, who, when I was having this discussion with him, said, you can't prove God doesn't exist. Which is, it really crystallizes the...
That's a logical fallacy.
Well, it's a
Shifting
logical
the burden of
fallacy
proof.
because it's shifting the burden of proof. That's exactly what it is. And the burden of proof is not on me to prove that there is no God. The burden of proof is on the person claiming that there is a God.
That's fair, unless, of course, you were in...
Unless I'm saying there is no God.
Which you aren't.
That's a positive proof.
You aren't saying that, right?
I'm not saying that as an
necessarily.
atheist.
Yeah, okay. Well, fair enough. All right, well, you want to go to breakdown, or...?
I guess so. All right. So.
This will be a little bit awkward
This
for
will be,
anyone
yeah, we're
watching.
having to switch. So I
Press
guess,
advance.
yeah.
So I guess you're
So
watching
you're-
Symposium on Riot Radio.
Supposed to be on rightradio.ca.
We'll be back in a
Song
little
is
bit.
I Don't Know by the Sheepdogs.
Advance.
Advance. Click.
All right.
Never had a hurt, more than 7 ways.
I'm uncomfortable with this.
There you go.
Oh, this one is
Usually doing this out.
going to. Alright. I just want to check. Just wait. Alright, cool. Welcome back to Skeptics Symposium. So the topic of the day is astrology. And astrology is, I have it written down here. Astrology is an assortment of beliefs that dictate that the alignment/position of celestial bodies can alter the course of events on Earth, I'm thinking. Wherever the rest of the notes is. On Earth. And it is seen in many cultures across the world, and it's not to be confused with astronomy, which of course is the science of everything outside of Earth, I suppose.
You know, astronomy and astrology.
Talk at the microphone.
Astrology goes back so far that the reason astronomy is called astronomy and not astrology is because
it was taken.
Because it was already
Astrology
taken.
was there first. Yeah.
I know. Do you know what astronomy means? You know, like this.
It's almost
Identical. All right, fair enough.
I'm guessing star and nomo, like naming of stars. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So this is the horoscope thing. So you know,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
Aries.
that's strictly speaking Western astrology. There's a bunch of different types of astrology, and the one that everyone's familiar with is, of course, Western astrology, which is the horoscope thing.
Yeah.
Specifically, that the position of the planets and the stars when you were born dictates something about who you are and what your future holds.
Every day.
And you can, make predictions based on it.
Yeah, and that's a huge element of astrology is the fortune-telling aspect of it.
Mhm.
And a lot of times you see astrologers, I guess you'd call them,
Yeah.
are also tarot card reader, tarot.
Yeah.
My bad, tarot.
You only heard it first.
Yeah, I've
seen it
never
first.
seen
Yeah.
it now.
Okay.
And like palm readers and all those kind of things. They're always kind of lumped together, which is a little questionable.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's really widespread. Like, I mean, I bet more people than not know their sign. You know, you're like, what's your sign?
Yeah, no.
Like,
I know my sign.
And
What are
most
I don't know. No, I'm an Aries. I think.
you? Pisces.
Aries?
Pisces.
Yeah, I think I'm an Aries.
So you're like between March 20th and April 18th or whatever it is.
Something like that.
No, I'm April 9th.
So
you're
yes,
definitely
between
between
March
those two.
20th and April 19th.
Oh, crap. Did I mix up May and March again? Yeah.
Numbers, I know.
And even a lot of
What are you
people,
going to do?
even a lot of people know their Chinese astrological sign, which is
I don't think I know that.
which is by year. And the only reason I'm making this assumption is because a lot of the time it's on the placemats for Chinese buffets.
The Mandarin.
Yeah, the
Oh,
Mandarin
yeah.
or like
I
a
think
lot
I
of
used
those
to know.
smaller
I'm a
places.
monkey.
They have.
I know
I'm a ram.
A ram?
Okay, then I'm a ram
Yeah,
as
you're
well.
ram too.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Alright. Yeah, no, actually,
It's kind of funny.
it's there's different systems. So like some take into account stars as constellations, groups of stars like constellations.
Well, that's when you see like, I forget what it was. It's the Aries or the Pisces or whatever. Those are constellations. Those are Ptolemaic constellations. If you remember way back when the
Oh yeah,
when
good times.
the universe went around the Earth,
Yeah,
back when everyone believed that.
Simpler times.
Yeah.
Yes, much.
Ptolemy proposed that model, and he divided up the sky into those constellations. You had, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries,
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius,
Blah, blah, blah.
all of them. And so it was where the sun rose, what constellation the sun rose in, or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure on.
And
So yeah,
that's
he
how
actually
you
he
define.
broke it into 30-degree segments, to
Yeah.
360 degrees. And actually, because of the way the Earth rotates, it's actually shifted.
Yeah, it's
Um,
shifted since he proposed it.
So
in
since
BC.
since he proposed this way back when, it's actually shifted 27 degrees. So you're nearly certain to be the one next over, the another star sign over, so to speak. I mean, if you're going to go with how accurate these readings are, and of course we're leading into the fact that these aren't necessarily as accurate as they
Yeah.
suggest.
Yes.
They've never scientifically been confirmed in any controlled test.
And there have been studies.
And
well,
there have been.
Dawkins he did a documentary on BBC, I don't know, 4 or something like that.
Yeah, one of those.
And he got a horoscope, and he didn't tell people what it was, and he got 12 people off the street. And if horoscopes are accurate, then it should only apply to one of them, right?
Or a couple.
Well, statistically speaking, if you grab 12 random people, then
if we're assuming 100% accuracy, I mean,
Right.
even if there's 20% accuracy, I'd be cool with it.
12 is
Just to be fair here.
Yeah. So he found one for Sagittarius. A horoscope for Sagittarius, had everyone read it and then say if they thought it applied to them or not.
All right.
And a bunch of people said it did. Actually, 6 of the people said it did. 6 of the people said it didn't. And among the ones who said it didn't apply to them was the Sagittarius.
That's pretty funny.
So
So is there any reason he did this experiment and he only grabbed 12 people?
it
Yeah,
was,
pretty
it was for TV.
Oh, a little fluff
Yeah.
piece. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? I've actually got
It was
a little
proof
bit of a better
concept.
one. It was about 5,000 people.
Mhm.
And they did again, it was randomly chosen stars. And it worked out to about average, as it is, in different distributions. Like, for instance,
Talk to where
Yeah, I can see like the back of your head.
more people.
Also, if anyone's wondering what this is, that's my foot.
More people. Yeah, more people born in the summer. Obviously, that was accounted for.
Right.
And they did they basically tested how accurate they thought they were. They ranked the good quality of these accurate readings, and then they did a general one. So for sort of like a control. So they gave everybody the same one and said, how accurate do you think this is?
Yeah.
And
it's classic.
70% thought that was great for them. They thought it was perfect description of their personality, description of how their life is going at the time.
Yeah.
And the ones that were tailored actually only garnered about 5% true accuracy to any specifics in their life.
Well, that's
Yeah.
another thing about about horoscopes and fortune telling is that they're vague, which is not a good
Yeah.
thing.
And,
So
and the funny thing
would
is,
be bound to apply to you.
yeah, and the other thing is you can get cases where you get 2 horoscopes from 2 different places for the same person, and they are inconsistent or contrary or contradictory. Roman?
Shall I? Okay, so I have 2 horoscopes that I kind of just wrote out from
One from the Star.
one from the Toronto Star and one from the Toronto Sun. So the one
And
from
they're both for.
That's pretty funny.
they're
Stars.
both for Pisces today,
The
which of
stars.
course Keegan and I both
Yeah.
had.
Is that intentional? You guys got
No,
the
it's
star?
the Toronto Star?
The star for the sake of
Toronto
Astrology?
Anyway, no, okay, go on.
Okay.
He doesn't
Proceed.
get it.
Okay, so
Some
it's
of-
not that good.
Some of us missed that Latin.
I actually took Latin for 2
Right.
years in high school.
Read the horoscope.
Alright, so this is one from the Toronto Sun. Don't waste time trying to convince skeptics. Try to focus on the people you can influence and who will help you reach your goals. Love is in the stars, and setting a romantic scene will help you improve your personal life. Make travel plans 5 stars.
Wait, okay.
What
What does the 5 stars mean?
Is that-
I don't know. I think it's like your rating for the day. Like it's a good.
No,
it's a good-
it's a good day thing.
Nice.
Yeah, no. That's what it is. Yeah, and just half of that isn't even isn't even like a prediction. It's
No.
just good advice. Like, hey,
Yeah.
yeah, if you do something romantic, you may find yourself in a more romantic situation. Of course you will. And what was the other one? How did it start out?
I don't know. Roman threw it on the ground.
I threw it.
There was the part at the beginning was just
Don't waste
advice.
time trying to convince skeptics.
Yeah, how was that a prediction?
Yeah,
We're just saying things
It's
now.
advice.
And if anything, skeptics
Focus
will
on the
listen to you.
focus on the people who you can influence and who will help you reach your goals. Well, that's pretty obvious, right? Get help from the people who will help you.
So yeah, how would you even study? How would you even find if that's accurate?
Well, you
It's
can't really
just-
test
it's
that,
just
right?
that's just somebody saying something
Yeah.
to somebody else.
I suppose you could go on the make travel plans thing and say,
That's all we got left.
did the trip
Yeah,
go
that's the
well?
only-
Yeah. Oh,
All right, shall I read the next one?
yeah. Go on. Let's see if
From
they're
the
the
Toronto
same.
Star.
And these are for the same person.
Same, yep,
Yeah.
Pisces for
These are,
both.
this is
This is
your.
for me today.
These are your guys'. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, be discreet, especially if you are confused right now. How you handle a difficult situation could change given some time. Nevertheless, you have to take the lead on a project, like it or not. Whatever the nevertheless, I don't know if that applied.
All right. Well, this.
Do not make any over-the-top comments involving commitment. And then it says tonight : into the wee hours.
All right. Well, I could say all in all that was a better. It had better predictions in that it was actually predictions.
Yeah.
But again,
I can see a little bit of overlap.
No, this is all commands. There's only one prediction: tonight into the wee hours. This is saying.
No, but they're giving some predictions in the form of the statements. You know what I mean?
Well,
You have to take a lead on a project whether you like it or not.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You can
exactly.
be like, oh, well, if I do take the lead, will turn out well. If I don't.
Regardless, they're very dissimilar. It would take a.
There's not a lot of.
We need a team of linguists in here to find.
Well,
the similarities.
They're not contradictory.
Some of the linguists.
They're not contradictory, but they're not really telling you the same information at all, right?
Oh yeah. Maybe we got.
The only thing I can maybe link up is the love is in the stars and setting a romantic scene will help improve your personal life, and then the do not make any over the top comments involving commitment.
Yeah.
Tonight into the wee hours.
That's kind of contradict each other.
Kind of.
Kind of.
But it's like
But
go
not
on a
really.
date, but
No.
don't.
Not seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. But again, we're giving them a lot of room here.
Yeah, we're really stretching, and it's a vague prediction at best.
Yeah, and I don't know how you manage to test that. I'm sure if you were testing this, you'd have to find more definite ones. But we have depending on the astrologer and depending on the type of astrology, you're going to have thousands. There's going to be as many predictions and as many horoscopes out there as there are astrologers.
Oh,
yeah,
for
that's
sure.
true.
And
It would be interesting to survey all, or at least a large portion of astrology columns to see if there was
Any
congruity.
yeah.
well, it's kind of interesting because a lot of these columnists,
Yeah.
they have their own website they can go to,
Oh yeah.
and a lot of the websites have their own definition of what astrology is, and they have their own way of how it influences the world. Like they all have their own distinct way of
theory
thinking
of
about it.
mechanism, right?
Yeah.
That's the other thing we have to talk about in regards to astrology, because scientifically speaking, astrology is basically saying that stars and planets can affect you personally.
Yeah, and there's only really 4 ways it can affect you. The 4 fundamental forces, right?
Right. So the most relevant on Earth being gravity.
Yeah, well, I mean, just to explain, the 4 fundamental forces are electromagnetism, weak and strong nuclear forces, and gravity. Weak and strong nuclear forces only work really small, little molecules, atoms, and so that can obviously work. Venus isn't going to affect or Venus or Sirius.
Jupiter.
Is it going to affect our nuclei?
Are not going to affect our nuclei, and so we're left with electromagnetism and gravity.
Electromagnetism, significant portion generated by the sun. I could see some
It could
effect
be, yeah.
from
But
that.
the main effects of any of the other stars are, well, you see it right there. It's a dot in the sky.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a
Which is
star.
actual- oh.
Yeah, and
That's
then,
all that's getting to us.
And then, so what you're really talking about, and the only celestial bodies that are purported in astronomy to actually have any effect on humans are the sun, the moon, and Venus.
Venus.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you gotta think, even though these stars are much larger, they're much further away.
Yeah.
And, the moon's gonna have any number of effects more than any of these stars would have. And only very few astrology systems actually use the moon.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But they always seem to have this little moon icon, the crescent moon icon, in
Yeah.
the top right corner.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I know what you mean.
It seems to be a pretty
Well, I think
significant
it's supposed to signify the night, to be fair.
So the
Darkest moon.
point I guess we're getting at is that there isn't really a scientifically viable mechanism for how, Saturn or Jupiter or Neptune or any of these other constellations could affect human life, especially on an individual scale.
But I don't think, to be honest, I don't think that astrologers are fooling many people. I don't think that...
Well, I would have to contest that, because I think I've seen surveys, and I can't quote numbers, but a significant portion of people consult their horoscope daily and will tailor their day if there's something that says, don't go into work today.
Yeah,
And
They'll
people,
never say that here.
I can't imagine.
well,
Yeah,
stuff like
I
that.
think what's wrong with admitting that it's good advice generally? Maybe it's good advice to some person, but not saying like, thank God that I'm Pisces, or else. I mean, if I was following a Sagittarius, I would just be my life would be terrible. Good thing I'm a Pisces.
The furthest I've seen is people talk about, oh, this person is a Pisces and this person is a.
Yeah, and they're compatible.
Are they compatible enough?
Yeah, there's
I've
compatible.
heard that as far, but I don't know. Like in a pinch, I don't think people are going to go to this for like.
Well, in a pinch,
their
no one
advice.
goes to.
In a pinch.
In a pinch, people don't go to pseudoscience.
Quick, I need advice.
In a pinch, people go to real science, right? If
Not
someone gets shot, do they go to their homeopath or do they go to the hospital?
Well, I don't know. I have to ask them.
I think the answer.
Sadly, I can't ask
is
any of the ones that went to the
obvious.
homeopath. There were no survivors. Okay.
Uh,
But yeah, no, is there any harm in believing it? Like, I can't, I mean, unless they're seriously taking it, they're losing a job because they decided not to
I'd
go
say
to
this
work.
is fairly
Or-
harmless
or-
pseudoscience.
Well, even the compatibility stuff. I mean, you could have, if someone formed a relationship and then they're like, oh no, I can't be with you because you're
I don't necessarily agree with that because
Sagittarius.
people will switch like religions to be with other people. So I feel like that's a lot
That's
stronger
true.
than like the daily.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that it is harmful for the vast majority of people.
Oh yeah, okay.
I'm saying there's probably a subset of people that this
Well,
is
that's,
not
you
good
can
for.
say that about anything.
That's true. But the other thing that I think is harmful is the effect it has on people's thinking. If this is put in newspapers, I can't think of a newspaper where there isn't some sort of astrology section. And if it's put in newspapers, then it gives it a bit of credibility.
But then again, a lot of the time it's right next to the Sudoku. It's under like the coffee break.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Beside the
but
cartoon.
still,
Yeah, for entertainment purposes, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
maybe that's implied, but
I know what you're
still-
trying to say that
and-
like it gets people thinking on those terms.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
And I would gladly see astrology sections replaced with astronomy sections.
That would be great. Or, you know,
And that would
like,
probably be more entertaining, let's be honest.
well, you know what? A lot of newspapers, a lot of news companies have been cutting any science journalism lately. They're getting, sports people to cover the science just because it's a cursory kind of afterthought. Not as much interest in science as there used to be, which is a sad sight. And I see what you're saying. Trying to work with, with technology and science in our everyday life so much
with
as
the
it is
Android
now.
little things that you have.
Oh yeah, little tags. You're dealing with science every day now. It's not just some abstract concept. You're working with it. You have to be careful not to mix those chemicals at home, otherwise you're going to die.
Yeah.
And
especially with the strides that scientists are making. We just landed a car-sized thing on Mars with a rocket crane. That's possibly the coolest thing that's ever happened on Mars.
Well, we don't know yet. That's something
Mars is
that's
pretty awesome.
I'm a little curious about that.
The rover was called Curiosity.
Yeah. I obviously we're in a great scientific time, but a lot of people don't appreciate it. I think it's sort of a backlash. Things have been changing a lot recently. People like to be a little bit more conservative. They don't like change.
Yeah.
Things, they're being reserved. It's not necessarily like, I don't think it's an overall bad symptom.
I think it's a symptom of general anti-intellectualism.
You think?
Yeah.
I think it's just a little bit of a quirk of fast advancement.
I think it's both. To be honest, I
There
do
you
think
go, Ben.
moderator. I do think that is a little bit of both, and especially I think people, especially in the news, people just want to say, okay, what happened here, and then they want to watch the sports, and then they definitely want to watch the weather. That's like what the news is for, right?
Really?
Was it sex, violence, drugs, and the weather? It's like,
yeah.
yeah, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, but all right, great.
But like, I don't know. It's not having science with the news is probably not the best place for it. I feel like.
But we digress greatly
Yes,
from our
yes.
astrological...
Yeah, I have a note here for the astrology thing. Is,
Yeah.
do they have the right to make these claims?
Yeah.
Well, anyone has the right to make whatever claims they want. They just don't have the right to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
We're not
for instance, you don't have to, if you're, really opposed to astrology, you and you own, say, like a newspaper stand, you don't have to carry the newspapers that have.
Well, you can write
a
a
horoscope,
letter to the
you
editor
know?
and you don't.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, it doesn't cause enough harm for anybody to get upset about it because again, like we're talking about, it's pretty benign.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I got something in the notes here, the Barnum effect.
Yeah, the Barnum effect, and that's sort of what we alluded to earlier, how these horoscopes are extremely vague, and that's what sort of the effect works on. People will try to fit predictions like these to their own lives. If it says, don't waste time trying to convince skeptics, that's a fairly vague thing, but I could say, oh, that means that I shouldn't try to put anything past Roman and Mackie today.
Or have any kind of argument.
Yeah, or have any kind of argument.
Well, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
But it's people trying to fit it to their lives, and the name comes from P.T. Barnum, the famous circus person,
Oh, okay.
who said his catchphrase was, "We've got something here for everyone," and that's what he meant. Is that these things like astrology give such vague predictions that it could apply to anyone, and indeed, as the studies have seen, it does apply to more people than it's supposed to.
Yeah, that's fair. I overall don't think it's a big priority to get to
But it's interesting to
as skeptics we kind of have to pick a cause, try to maybe make things a little bit more science based overall, just generally.
Well, I think that if you replaced astrology sections with astronomy sections, that would be a big win.
For you.
For you?
No, for the skeptics in general. For skepticism,
yeah.
for science appreciation.
That's fair. And society,
Society, of course.
the biggest indicator of next generational success for a country is the greater science education.
Which
It's
makes
the biggest
complete
indicator.
sense.
So I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
If you want to
Throw out your
succeed.
show.
Yeah. Well, have we got anything else we want to hit?
No, I
on
think
this
that's fine. I
story?
think we'll go on
I
break.
think that's good, yeah.
All right.
Let me just
See you in a few
walk
minutes.
over here. So, the next song is American Psycho by Triple Charger.
You've been watching Symposium on Riot Radio.
Yep.
What's the problem with the human race? No matter where I turn, I can't escape your double bass. Don't wanna listen to the radio. Or stick around just to hear I told you so. I couldn't make it without you. I should've known better than doubt you. I thought I heard the end of it. And now I know how far you go. Next freak show, American Psycho. Cover of the magazines, made to take the trouble kings. Wish I never heard your name. Tomorrow could be just another day. Misdemeanor or a felony, that's okay. Don't wanna wait for a second chance. It's your turn for the spotlight, the big dance. How could we make it without you? I should've known better than doubt you. I thought I heard the end of it. And now I know how far you go to be the next freak show. American Psycho, cover of the magazines, make them take the double teams. Wish I never heard your name. And they don't wanna know. What I already know. What am I supposed to do when you know that it's untrue? That you stole, that you lied, that you screaming down a self-absorbed, wide awake and never bored. Party binging, virgin series off with plastic surgery. Spotted at the hottest shows, interview on Charlie Rose. They all want a piece of you. Now I know how far it
No, I thought I was waiting to see him start the next song before he starts. All right, welcome back to Symposium on rightradio.ca.
Come forward, Mackie.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah, it's
hey,
your part anyway, Mac.
Hey there.
Tell us about the science news.
All right. Well, you know what? Last week they announced the winners of the Nobel Prizes this year, and I mean, just so far for the science, we've got chemistry is actually going to be very soon.
Oh, yeah.
Chemistry is a little later.
Yeah.
But we've got the physiology, medicine, and the physics prizes to talk about. And the Nobel Prize in Medicine goes to Sir John B. Gurdon and Shinya Yamanaka. So they had a joint prize this year, even though they didn't research together. Their separate achievements were grouped under one.
Stem cells, right?
It was a stem cell thing. So John Gurdon, he's a British scientist.
I actually saw an interview with him.
What did you?
Yeah.
Don't you love his hair?
It's great. He's so cool. He's like, yes, I didn't think I would actually get the Nobel Prize, and people were reporting that I had, and someone called and was like, hey, how did you like winning the Nobel Prize? It's like, oh, I haven't won it. And then I got a call from a Swedish gentleman, and he eventually convinced me that he was legitimate and told me I'd won.
What a good skeptic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what he's famous for and what he's been knighted for is the experiment that he actually cloned a frog, which is fine. We clone things all the time. The thing is, he used the DNA of the frog from the skin cells. So normally, the controversial part about stem cells is we take them from embryonic fluid, we take them from embryos that have been aborted or whatnot, or the fluid and the embryonic fluid. Did I mention? Amniotic fluid. So what he figured out is that he could use the DNA from the frog's skin cells and inject it into a frog's egg after taking out the egg's DNA, and it would actually grow to maturity. It would become a normal frog. So he found out that even though these cells were differentiated, they specialized from the original types of cells, they still had all the information they needed to become any frog they needed to be.
And that's actually a true point in all biology, is that all your cells have the exact same copy of DNA. It's just how they
Except for your sex cells.
Right.
Well, yes, let's get technical.
Well, all of your body cells.
Well, that's significant because
Yeah.
It was used with the experiment was done with frog egg, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So he would take out the nucleus.
So he took out the nucleus and he actually put in the nucleus from the skin cell, and the egg was basically fertilized. It didn't need to be fertilized anymore because it had the full genetic information from the one animal.
And that organism would be genetically identical to
The parent.
the donor of the skin cells. So
Exactly.
you can put, there's limits obviously to what sort of animal you could grow, but I'm almost certain you could grow other types of amphibians if you put their DNA in a frog egg. Wouldn't be much of an issue.
Probably, yeah. I would tend to agree. But yeah, Shinya Yamanaka, even though his research was 40 years later, he figured out the genetic component of de-differentiating skin cells. So what he can do is he introduces what we thought it was going to be very complicated. He proved it was very simple. He just introduced a few genes into the cell, and it actually de-differentiates genetically just on its own.
Well, there's no actual differentiation from a genetic standpoint, right? You just get
No.
switching
I'm saying that
genes on
the
and off.
cell
Oh, yeah.
de-differentiates itself.
Yeah. That's
Right, and he introduces a couple genes to express that, to
Right.
make it go back.
Were these also frog skin cells?
No, he did this with humans, actually. With human
What type of
cells.
cells?
He used skin cells just like him, just like John Gurdon did, and he could switch them back into embryonic cells.
That's significant.
It's
That
very
is
significant.
awesome.
So he was piggybacking on the research of John Gurdon, and that's why they got the joint Nobel Prize, the $2 million prize.
Oh,
Or,
I was actually wondering that. It's like
You
if
were
you if you share a Nobel Prize,
you split it.
does the $1 million get half?
Yeah,
Or...
they got $1 million each, and
Oh, so they got $1 million each. They didn't share the
No.
million.
The prize is worth more.
Oh, is the
What?
prize?
No.
No,
Every
come on.
every
This is-
Nobel
you said
Prize.
this
This is
2 million.
this is simple math. Okay, guys, the whole prize is $2 million. They each get half.
No,
But
isn't,
usually
isn't
it's
the
a
Nobel
billion.
Prize
No.
1 million?
No, it's $2 million always.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
my bad.
Guys, come on.
All right.
I'm here telling you about this.
Okay, alright, fine. Maybe
But-
I need to thank you.
But yeah, no, he did it with human cells. And sorry, I should have mentioned he has done it with human cells since he didn't do it for the sake of the prize. He did it with mouse stem cells for the prize,
Oh.
and has done it since.
Okay.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that, but yeah.
That's fine.
So why are stem cells significant though?
Okay, well
yeah,
that's
and
the
why
thing.
is this significant
Why is this
in
significant?
stem cell
First off,
controversy?
you'll know the U.S. the USA, the biggest stem cell researcher up until 2003, 2002, I believe. Actually, they were the biggest stem cell researcher until George W. Bush, the president at the time, banned all stem cell research, regardless of origin of the cell.
What a jerk.
Yeah, well, it was controversial because they have
Yeah,
it's
but
the whole,
that's there's a classic case of someone not understanding the science.
Yeah.
Obviously, he banned it because of the controversy
belief.
surrounding embryonic stem cells.
Yeah, exactly.
Not realizing that there's other types of stem cells that.
Yeah, exactly. So he functionally banned it, and functionally banned it. I mean like, you could actually do the research. It was possible, but you couldn't use something. For instance, here's an instance: if you had a plumbing issue in your lab, you couldn't use a plumber who also has government contracts. So it couldn't touch the government even from a second-hand basis. So it was basically shut it all down, and in fact, it was all shut down. Nobody was doing stem cell research until just last year when it was reversed. So
Which is like almost 10 years.
so again, this is probably a big input into that. They got a lot of stem cell research bans. It was banned in some other European countries. Portugal banned stem cell research. I know, Portugal. Don't hear much from them.
Yeah.
But they reversed men. Basically because now they don't have to worry about the whole embryonic stem cell worry. You can turn anybody's cells back into normal cells, into stem cells, and stem cells are great for a million things. You heard and then probably heard about this for a very long time when stem cells were really big. Early 2000s. They can do things like repair brain damage. They can
which is like the big thing.
repair brain
neural
damage.
tissue to be repaired.
Repair brain damage.
Because neural tissue is
Very slow.
notoriously slow growing.
Yeah. So you can repair nerves, veins, things that would be normally hard to repair. Basically as a bandage, you can fix burns really well. This is the kind of thing that could lead to
People with
things
paralysis.
like regrowing just simple organs, making a kidney in a petri dish,
Or liver tissue.
being able to regrow a limb maybe one day. Like this
Crazy stuff.
Yeah,
That's-
no,
sci-fi
that's-
stuff.
sci-fi
Yeah,
stuff.
for sure.
Yeah, so it's very promising, and this is an advance we needed. This is they actually have stem cell banks, so they would save cord fluid.
Oh yeah,
So
I've heard
so
of
they would
this.
save cord fluid, and in case you need stem cells later on in life for whatever treatment you may need. So parents were doing that, and now these banks are useless. People who are paying to keep this cord blood,
Oh yeah.
and now they're
Well,
totally
it's-
obsolete.
Well, I wouldn't say it's obsolete yet, right?
Well, I mean,
the technology isn't.
again, we're not quite seeing the results from this just yet. So yeah.
Exactly.
But
it's going to take a little while before stem cells that these guys just won the Nobel Prize for. Yeah, before it makes it into mainstream
for sure.
treatments. But it is inevitable at this point.
Yeah, no, it's great. Well, unless there's some catastrophe, but we don't have to go into that. But anyway,
maybe they'll be able to fix Stephen Hawking.
this is where zombies come. Okay,
We can only hope.
this is how zombie apocalypse starts. You know it.
I'm okay. You know what? I'm okay with
I'm
that.
okay with that.
I'm
too.
okay
It'll
with
be fun. Okay. Anyway,
I've seen enough movies. I know how to handle myself.
and I'm just going to touch on the physics prize because I don't have it in the notes here, but physics, the prize in physics, I don't recall the name. It was a couple of researchers as well. They were working together, and they actually figured out how to determine determine several factors from a quantum waveform without collapsing the wave.
Oh,
So they basically broke quantum
yeah,
physics.
yeah. Well, they broke Heisenberg and
Yeah.
Symmetry principle.
Yeah. So what it means,
Yeah.
what it means to means.
So there you go. Anyone who's ever used the Heisenberg uncertainty principle to say that you can't know a bunch of things,
Yeah, that you don't know what
You can't.
truth really is.
He's referencing a lot of people use quantum physics as an excuse to come up with whatever they
Yeah.
want. Be like, oh, you can't know this. but-
Usually it's a statement about truth. You
But-
can't know truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heisenberg uncertainty principle, and it's very does
So,
not follow at all.
so what they
weren't these people from U of T?
No, they weren't. No, it was Penn State, I believe. But they, I believe it was 3 researchers, 3 graduate students. They figured a way to do it softly. They don't get certain. They're never certain of any of the states, but they get a very good idea. It's sort of like reading the shadow. So they're very close, and you know, it's a good sign. Maybe we can finally crack the code that is
Yeah.
the
Quantum's
enigma of quantum theory.
Quantum's the other scientific front we'll have to hit on
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, let's not do that. How's that sound? All right. Hey, you want to take us on with the?
Yeah, sure. All right.
16
So
months for-
again, everyone's favorite part of the show, science or fiction.
It is pretty good.
All right. So again, I'm going to read out 4 statements, and there will be 1 that is fiction, 3 which are science. Sound good?
1 fiction, 3 science.
1 fiction, 3 science.
Okay.
Okay, so statement 1. The planet Uranus was originally named the Georgium Sidus.
Okay.
Statement 2. Recent studies have uncovered that a positive feedback loop in penile nerves triggers repeated release of nitric oxide, which maintains an erection.
Okay.
3. There is a particular variety of fruit which is extremely brightly colored, yet lacks pigmentation.
All right. Okay.
And 4, a recent study shows that psychopaths tend to have a more sensitive sense of smell than the average person.
Okay, that's weird.
They're all weird. The penile one, I don't think you could have made that up.
All right. You want to take this from the top? Or? Yeah.
The naming of Uranus, I don't know. It seems possible. What was the name?
The Georgium Sidus.
Well, it is on its side by comparison. I don't know. I don't think that even
It
matters. I
sort
don't
of
know.
sounds made up.
I would rather pass on that one. I guess I would
You gonna
not be surprised if it was true.
Mhm. Okay.
With the nitric oxide release in the penis, I would not be surprised if that's true as well, as long as it's in small amounts.
Okay.
Not like insane.
Sure.
Which is how Viagra works, isn't it?
Well, remember this is about maintaining an erection, not getting one to begin with, which is where research lay
I don't know how Viagra works. Is it?
previous to this.
I think that's probably true.
Okay.
I don't know.
3.
3?
Brightly colored fruit which lacked pigment.
I don't know. That's kind of let's see. I'm not gonna tell me anything past this.
Nope. I'm not gonna tell you anything.
Because pigment is what gives color. I don't know. Is a prism colored? I don't know. What's the last one?
The last one was a recent study shows that psychopaths tend to have a more sensitive sense of smell. than the
Oh,
average
I don't know.
person.
Yeah, these are just random.
Yeah, these
How
are
am I
like.
supposed to know anything?
There's no way I can work off this. I don't know. I would
Live with
assume
it.
that every person's nose is the same.
Okay.
I might say the last one is false.
Okay. Last one's false.
All right. Well, okay. So from the top, what was it, Georgia Spinimus or something?
Sidus.
The Georgium
Sunny-
Sidus. Here, you can
Sinusoidal
say it.
acid. All right.
Georgium Sidus.
Georgium Sidus.
Yeah.
Georgium Sidus. See, that sounds like a planet name. The Sidus part.
Okay.
So that sounds right. I'm gonna stick with that in the temporarily right category.
Okay.
And only one's wrong,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Only one's wrong.
All right. Okay. So the penile thing maintains the erection.
Mhm.
All right. Now, I don't see a great reason why you can't just have blood flow down there. I mean, I'm not a
No,
biology student.
Nitric oxide?
Yeah.
Nitric oxide allows for the veins to stay open, like it
Oh,
dilates.
okay. That sounds right then.
Yeah.
Then why
Without
not?
it, they would constrict and.
Okay.
So-
All right. Well, we don't need the visuals for it.
I'm an animated speaker. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'm gonna put that in the temporary right pile too. The third one was the The fruit, yeah.
Which lacks pigment.
Okay, now I feel like pigment's the misleading word here.
Yeah,
I feel
me
like,
too. I feel like it should be.
I feel like pigment,
I don't know.
well, because obviously,
I will tell you this: there is no molecule that
Absorbs.
yes, exactly, that absorbs certain wavelengths to reflect others, which is the definition of
wow.
pigment.
Yeah.
Wow.
So-
Well, I can't imagine that it doesn't have any pigment at all in the whole fruit.
Well, it might.
So it's invisible. No, that's
No,
wrong.
It's colored. It's brightly
That's
colored.
wrong.
It's bright. It's bright.
So that means by
No, it's-
default you think that
So what's the other one? The last one is
psychopaths tend to have a more sensitive sense of
See, I can believe that because
I
I
can
don't
believe
know.
it too, but I feel like it's not true because that would mean that to be like what even is the definition of a psychopath? Because you're a psychopath, now you have developed.
classified as by the DSM-4 definition.
Well, like I've heard of some weird quirks like this, like the ginger people, those with red hair.
The ginger people.
The ginger. No, I didn't say the. Just
Yes, you did.
Alright, fine. The folk of ginge. They
My girlfriend's.
don't actually. Yeah, my girlfriend's ginger as well. No, okay.
Running out of time. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. They feel less pain apparently. They feel.
Oh,
less
that's
pain.
MythBusters.
Okay, no, so I heard that. So I think there's weird like genetic quirks. You know, one thing. can,
Okay.
like,
Oh
quirk-
yeah, that
be
makes
a
sense.
quirk.
So
working
you
together.
think that
So I'm saying
3 is the false,
I'm gonna
and you
say
think 4 is
Yeah,
false.
Three
it's
is false.
Okay. The results. The Georgium Sidus is true. When Uranus was first discovered in 1781, its discoverer, Sir William Herschel, named it after King George III. Named it the Georgium Sidus.
Okay.
However, outside of Britain, this name was rejected quickly.
No.
People wanted to name it Herschel, and also people wanted to name it Neptune, which is interesting. Eventually, it became the god of the sky, which would be Oranos, which got changed to Uranus.
All right.
Speed it along just a little
Good
bit.
change.
All right. The penile nerves is true.
What? Oh, it is true. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, we're good.
it's
Okay.
true. It is
Yeah,
true.
okay.
We're
it's
both
true.
in the clear.
So you're both
far.
right. I'll skip over that one because it's technical.
Okay.
That's where it comes.
All right. Number 3 is true.
Number 3 is true.
True.
So that means the.
Polia condensata uses no pigment, yet is bright blue. It lays down cellulose fibers in an asymmetrical structure in such a way that it directly interacts with light and reflects only blue light.
That was too crazy to be false.
Ooh-wee.
Interestingly, it does not lose its color over time the way other fruits would.
I think you're. Oh, that's cool.
But
But
the
also.
last one, I have to keep going here,
Yeah.
is false, obviously. And the recent study suggested that instead, people with psychopathic traits have impaired functioning due to the frontal lobe, impaired functioning in the frontal lobe, which is one of the causes of the psychopathy, which leads to a diminished sense of smell. Of course, this was a correlation study.
Well, yeah. The best you can do.
So the correlation was found between psychopathic traits and diminished olfactory ability.
So I'm 2 for 2 then. That's what that is.
Wow.
good.
man.
2 for 2.
I'm
Not
doing all right. Though.
All right, I'll close us off with
All right.
our quote of the day.
awesome.
Science knows no country because knowledge belongs to humanity, and it is the torch which illuminates the world. Science is the highest personification of the nation because that nation will remain the first which carries the furthest the works of thought and intelligence.
Sagan?
Pasteur.
Really?
Louis Pasteur.
Oh man. No, it's just sort of the book
I know,
title.
it sounds
Yeah.
Sagan-y. Anyway,
Thanks a lot for watching. You've been listening to Symposium
and we'll
On
see you
right.
next week.
on rightradio.ca.